I'll be taking you through the Oxley Highway case study. It's a real-world example of how applying the safe systems approach to improving motorcycle safety outcomes. The Oxley is a great example of targeted, data-driven interventions making a real difference in rider safety. I'll be able to gloss through this. We saw it in Bernard's presentation, and I think Sean's keynote covered it very well. So I'll just want to give you a key takeaway of this is that for a full safe system to work, all parts are crucial. If one of the pillars is unable to provide the safety interventions and provide the benefits that we see and we need on the network, the other pillars must do their part. And so as a shared responsibility, all of us in this room, we're all part of the system, and realizing that we're all on a journey towards zero together. Also, I can go through the principles of the safe systems. We know humans are fallible and we're vulnerable as human error is inevitable, but this shouldn't be at the price of fatals or serious injuries. So we know that we need a multi-layered approach across all pillars of infrastructure, vehicle speeds and people. And so the Oxley Highway is a model case of how these ideas move from theory to real-world change. So why the Oxley? As you heard Minister Aitchison, it has been one of the notorious stretch of road, and it's a 506k route. But particular for this case study, the 44-kilometre section through the mountain pass between Longflat and Walker has steep drop-offs, sharp bends, minimal shoulders, and sadly a high crash rate, especially for motorcyclists. Just within a 5 stretch of years, there have been 60 crashes, and this is what prompted the full route safety review. Of those 60 crashes, 58 occurred on curves, 43 involved motorcyclists, and tragically 6 fatalities were all motorcycle riders. So motorcyclists accounted for 30% of casualty crashes on this 44-kilometre section, more than double the New South Wales average. Most incidents were single vehicle runoffs on curves at high speeds, often in 90-kilometre speed zones or higher. But interestingly, more than half of the riders involved were locals, which highlights the fact that familiarity doesn't eliminate risk. And the key message here is that clearly the statistics show the need for targeted action, slower speeds, safer infrastructure, and rider-focused interventions. So the full route safety review process was very thorough, involved detailed crash analysis, OSRAP risk modelling, which I'll explain a bit further on the next slide, community consultation across Swarhope, Walker, Tamworth, Gunnedah and Warren, and multiple site inspections, but both from a behavioural and engineering perspective. A good example of this in New South Wales as a collaborative approach and evidence base also played out on the Bells Liner Road upgrade, showing that we can tailor solutions to specific environments and road users. So who here has heard of our ANCAP star ratings for vehicles? Great. The Australian Road Assessment Program, OSRAP, is exactly like that. It's a star rating to determine how safe are our roads. And it's the same premise, 1 to 5 stars. So you can see there that 44-kilometre section of the Oxley, the middle line, which you have to forgive the resolution, clearly shows the majority of it being 1 star, the black colour. And by simply reducing the speed limit by 20 kilometres an hour, you'll see that the star ratings have bumped up all above to the majority in the red 2 stars. And then when you improve or upgrade with widened shoulders, safety barriers, audio tactile line marking, you can see an even more increase in star ratings with the colour above the line. So we use OSRAP star ratings to benchmark the safety of the Oxley Highway. The star ratings help us move beyond just crash history and proactively assess where the risk lies. This predictive approach is increasingly becoming a standard KPI metric in all transport road infrastructure projects, especially for motorcyclists on preferred routes like Putty Road and Thunderbolts Way. A recent example is the M1 Pacific Motorway extension to Raymond Terrace, which achieved a 4-star rating for the road design, and we'll see that translate to real-world benefits when the project is completed in a couple of years' time. By combining these safe system interventions, mainly from the safer roads and speeds pillars, we know we can achieve significant star rating improvements. So following the route safety review, major changes were introduced in late 2017 to the Oxley Highway. The speed limit was reduced from 100 to 80. Sharper curves were fitted with advisory speed signs, motorcycle crash zone warning signs. Key sections were upgraded with sealed shoulders, motorcycle-friendly barriers, as we call them, underrun or rub rail. Also, enforcement was boosted with dedicated police bays and mobile speed cameras. So by applying all the pillars of the safe system, reducing the likelihood and the severity of crashes by improving the survivability of riders in those high-risk areas. So we can see the physical upgrades and all these engineering treatments were critical. But more importantly, the research tells us that by combining these safer road environments and consistent messaging in the road environment is key to influencing motorcyclist behaviour. The more self-explaining roads that is apparent to motorists, the clearer and safer decision-making outcome would result. So the results speak for themselves. Since these interventions have been placed, fatal motorcycle crashes have dropped. Riders report feeling safer with better hazard visibility and signage. Police reports improve compliance with the 80k speed limit, particularly among touring riders. But importantly, local communities feel that safety has been improved without wrecking the ride. That is quite a hard balance to strike, but it's critical for public acceptance. So looking at the hard numbers, they speak for themselves. The total number of crashes through the 44 mountainous section was halved. Motorcycle fatalities fell by 2/3. This isn't just statistical noise. It's lives saved, serious injuries avoided, and families spared. And it's a reminder that even the small changes, a speed reduction here, a barrier installation there, can collectively have a massive impact. So the results with the previous OSRAP slide highlight the life-saving benefits of speed limit reductions. So what have we learned and what are we doing about it? Firstly, we know that speed management works. It's about having the right speed limit for the right road environment. And our network over time hasn't caught up to adjusting the speed limits for our changing population and all the land use surrounding it. Secondly, success depends on combining the pillars at our disposal: speed, signage, enforcement, and road design, not relying on just one silver bullet. Thirdly, motorcycle-specific safety treatments matter, and installing the appropriate treatments at the locations needed, like underrun, the visual cues, providing a self-explaining road, having the pullover bays, can make a difference. Also, early engagement is key. That builds community trust and makes the solutions more effective with the community buy-in. And finally, we will continue monitoring all these corridors, because applying now the Oxley Highway as a case study to all other iconic motorcycle routes across New South Wales is key. And so we can keep on moving the needle if we apply the Safe Systems approach. Thank you.